Thanks so much. I'm excited to be here. Yesterday, I actually got to teach songwriting to my husband's fifth grade students. So I didn't expect to be a little bit hoarse today, but that happened. So bear with me. But I just really have a heart for pouring into the next generation. So I posted some songwriting tips and on my Facebook, and I'll be just reach out to me if you're an aspiring songwriter too. So this first song actually I wrote a while back, and it was in a transition season of my life where I was trying to figure out what the will of God was, and I just felt really scared. And so this song really shows that journey and where I was at. And it's called You Will. And the reason it's called that is because when I searched in my Bible software for verses on the will of God, I did God and will because I didn't want to filter out will of God by just doing God's will. So what I actually got, though, when I looked at the search results was a bunch of things about what God will do. And so that really spoke to me of the faithfulness of God, and also that I was seeking an answer. I was seeking this concrete thing, so afraid that I was going to mess everything up. And God was just saying, I have you in my hands. You can trust me. You belong to me. So if that's where you find yourself, know that you have a God who is a God who will take care of you, who makes so many promises, and he fulfills them all. So the song is called You Will. Not closer to an answer, but closer to the truth. What does it really matter if I don't believe in you? And all I speak are empty, pious words. And I deceive when I deny my hurt. Reaching a decision is difficult enough, and I can't fight the questions, and yet you want my trust. You promised me you'd be here in my need, but honestly, I'm terrified you leave. They say I'm brave, I feel just like a fool. Your will was still what I was willing to do. My whispers in the silence just echo off the walls. I'm begging for your guidance, I just don't want to fall. Is it true I brought this on myself? Or do you await my call for help? They say you're faithful when I can't see what's to come. So I'll sigh and
Awesome. Wow. Beautiful. About God's faithfulness. I love that. I notice on your YouTube channel that you have some original songs in Spanish as well. So you're bilingual?
Yes, I actually have a degree in Spanish, and so I've translated 20 of my songs into Spanish so far. And my part of my dream is to travel in South America and play these songs and just really share about healing, because I feel like there's a lot of need for resources. And one thing the Lord's been showing me too, though, is that I've often thought that I would have to go somewhere else to find people that need to hear these things, but I've gotten to play songs at Hope Women's Center, a nonprofit that helps under-resourced women. It's a trauma-informed care center, and they're just wonderful. So if you're in Arizona, if you're in Phoenix, and you're either looking for help or looking for somewhere to volunteer, that place is amazing. But I also have some friends in Cajamarca in northern Peru that I'm hoping to see again. So, but I think this message of healing from trauma is for all of us. None of us makes it out of life unscathed, and God's healing is available to us.
Amen to that.
Like this next song I'm going to play says, He knows us intimately, and yet He invites us to share everything with Him, to bring it all. Just like you can know all about a celebrity, but if they actually, you've never talked to them, you don't actually know them. Like, I think that there's a point of, we can do that with God sometimes. We know a lot about God, but we don't actually share our hearts with Him. And that's how we really feel loved by Him, is when we don't hold anything back and find out He doesn't go anywhere. So for a long time, when I read Psalm 139, there's a part where the psalmist actually asks God to slay the wicked, and you're just like, whoa, like, hold on there. But I've been reading a book on the Psalms, and the author talks about the fact that every emotion is welcome in God's presence, that we can take even our vengeful thoughts, even our bitterness and anger, and we can pour it out before Him, and He can handle all of it. And so I actually added a verse to this song because I kind of shied away from that still, and yet I wanted to share the fact that God wants that too. And so there's a verse I just added today to the song that really mentions that as well. So this song, I just called it Psalm 139, and I just finished it. I wrote it this week, and I just finished it today. So we'll see how it goes. I don't usually play songs this soon on concerts. So
Awesome. Thank you for blessing us.
All right. Ooh, that's not where the chord is. There it is. Okay. You search me, Lord, know all my depths. I'm an open book to you. When I lie down, when I rise up, all my thoughts, you know them too. Before a word is on my tongue, behold, you know it all. You hem me in behind before and catch me when I fall. I know there's nowhere I could go where you don't walk with me. In the deepest, darkest pit, I feel you here with me. The shadows cannot overcome. Night will shine like the day. And I can't outrun your love. You're familiar with my ways. You shaped me in my mother's womb, wove me in the secret place, formed and framed what I should do. In your book wrote all my days. Lord, you take my breath away. Wonder fills my heart. Oh, your deeds are marvelous, and I'm your work of art. breaks me down, my anger and my bitterness. I pour it out before you now, and rest my head upon your chest. Search me, Lord, and know my heart. Test and know my anxious thoughts. If there's a hurt, awaken me. Lead back to your path, oh God. You search me, Lord, know all my depths. I'm an open book to you.
Awesome. Good job. I think it was like that last verse that you threw in there that you just did. It was good. Perfect.
Thank you.
That was like the Taylor Swift of song rules of songwriting, right in there that we talked about earlier. Less syllables is more. I really, really enjoyed that. And I know you're talking about like how could we write a song that includes lyrics like "Happy is he who dashes infants' heads against the rocks,"
yeah.
you know, things like that. David was pretty intense, that's for sure. But I think you did a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think that I just feel like the songs of the church don't often look like the Psalms. I mean, there are Psalms where the psalmists pour out their anger, where they pour out their pain. There are 2/3, I think it is. I could be wrong. I think it's 2/3 of the Psalms are Psalms of lament, where the writer is just like, God, help me. Like, where are you? I don't understand. And so I think that we need permission in the church to write songs like that.
Oh, yeah.
God, I don't get it. You know, I don't know why I'm suffering. My heart is broken. Like, why did you let this happen?
And there's a lot of us that are afraid of that doubt, and it's because of that. I love the message you got. Like I've talked about this before. I've written a song on it. Habakkuk. Habakkuk begins the prophet. How long, O Lord, must I call for help? Do you listen? Right. It's the same idea. So great tune.
Oh yeah, and it just struck me the other day. I'm like, we have an entire book of the Bible called Lamentations about lament. Like, you know, God wants all of our emotions, and I think that in the church, it's easy to sweep things under the rug and to think that it's not okay to be sad or to be struggling. And one of the things I feel like the Lord's calling me to speak into more is honestly like to shed a light on mental illness as a thing that exists in the church just like it exists outside the church. I take some medication for anxiety. I've been having like panic attacks because of this pandemic, and some other diagnoses too, like ADHD and stuff. And knowing those things about myself has been super freeing. It doesn't give me license to then just like do whatever I want. It actually helps me to find tools. And so if you have a diagnosis, if you think you might have one, I just want you to know that there's no shame in that. There's no shame in admitting you have depression or bipolar 2, anxiety, all of these other things I can name. There's no shame in that. And it's just the enemy wants there to be confusion about these things. The enemy wants you to think if you just had more faith, you wouldn't be struggling. And so I just want you to know there's so much permission to be authentic before God and to be frail and human and to seek help. There's nothing wrong with therapy or counseling. And so I just am learning just to speak up about those things, because counseling and therapy have helped me. Medication has helped me. I mean, being in the Lord's presence has helped me. So I think it's just so important to be authentic in that and to be willing to share with people you trust about your struggles. So,
Amen.
Yeah. So I wasn't planning on talking about that, but I just watched a whole bunch of teaching on mental illness in the church, and I just felt like I needed to say something about it. So this next song is about the ways that I tend to run from God and to not want to be in his presence, because honestly, sometimes I'm afraid my emotions are too strong, that God can't handle all of it, or I don't want to feel, I don't want to actually go there. And God is so tender with us. The enemy is fighting so hard to keep us from God's presence. But God is just welcoming every time. And so the song is called Daughter, Come Dance. Daughter, come dance here with me a while. Father, you whisper and I hear your smile. Even when I run and hide, you see each tear that I cry. I lay down my burdens, you bear them away. Here in your presence, I can't help but sway. Your rhythm is moving me now. Love draws me in, casts fear out. Your light is sunshine and I can breathe deep. I hear your heartbeat and I feel your peace. You are my refuge and strength. How is it that I've stayed away? You're full of kindness and I am undone. I'm the forgetful, distractible one. You bid me come just the same, and grace breaks the power of my shame. I am beloved and wanted and known. Here in your arms I belong and I'm home. Each day your mercies are new. Teach me to listen for you. Daughter, come dance here with me a while. Father, you whisper and I hear your smile.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I love the picture of that. Great title, too.
Thank you. So this last song is one I actually played for my husband's students, and it's really something that the enemy has tried to keep me from playing. I do these virtual songwriting groups through Sarah Grove's ministry, Art House North. So there's a great Facebook page if you're a songwriter, AHN songwriting group that has a whole bunch of songwriters, and you can meet with other songwriters on Zoom and get feedback on your songs. So I have been so grateful for that. And so I actually was in a group with Sarah Groves in the group, and she didn't have any constructive criticism on the song, and I was like, all right, Lord, like, I think you wanted me to have someone tell me that I needed to play the song, because I didn't like the song. I honestly don't think I ever would have played this on Red's Room, really. But everybody was like, oh my gosh, you have to play this song. And I was like, all right, Lord, this is an act of faith of saying, you know what, you've given me a message, and the enemy has been trying to tell me it's not good enough, and I need to actually speak it out. So this song is kind of about my journey of learning to identify and not speak lies anymore over myself. Because I think in our lives, there are so many times every day that we speak lies over ourselves. We make a mistake and we tell ourselves we're stupid. We tell ourselves that we're too weird, no one will actually like us. Like, honestly, that's a big one for me. Like, oh, why'd you do that? Why'd you take pictures of flowers at the nursery? Like, people are gonna think you're weird. Like, that's the enemy's always like, people will think you're weird, don't be you, don't be you. And so the enemy has really been trying to keep me from being me, and I think I'm finally tired of pretending to be somebody else. So anyway, but I think for all of us, there's those lies that keep us from trying. One of the speakers at the Mental Health Summit said that the easiest way to identify these voices is to think about something you would maybe think about doing, like, oh, I could start a podcast. And the immediate reaction that you have negatively to that of like, you couldn't do that, you're not smart enough, whatever that is, or whatever that thing is that you've been thinking about doing, if you actually say it out loud or you say it to yourself, the enemy is going to come in and try to tell you all the reasons that you're not good enough. So I just really, like, if there's anything I leave everybody with after my set tonight, it's what are the lies you're believing, and what does the Lord want you to speak over yourself instead? In James, it says life and death are in the power of the tongue. And so I think that's in James, right? Anyway, so yeah, we just to tell ourselves the truth is just so vital and so important. So the song is actually called Tell Myself the Truth. My heart aches and I don't know why. Is it the weight of all these lies? They felt true and they were sown, and so they grew and made a home. But now I see that they were weeds. I'll pull them up by the roots and tell myself the truth, the truth. I'm new and I am free. I'll tell myself the truth, that you have loved me. Tell darkness, give me a name. I hid my spark beneath the pain. Wore these shackles I thought I deserved. Gave up the battle for my worth. But then you came and took my shame. There's nothing left for me to do. Tell myself the truth, the truth. I'm new and I am free. I'll tell myself the truth, the truth, that you have loved me. Tell myself the truth. When doubts arise, still I will shine. I'm your design, I'm your design, and I won't stop. You make me strong, and I belong to you. To you, I'll tell myself the truth, the truth. I'm new and I am free. I'll tell myself the truth, that you have loved me. Tell myself the truth.
That's fantastic.